everyone, in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you about the deadly sins of all the 9 Enneagram types. You might have also heard them called deadly passions, core weaknesses, thorn in your side, shadow self. All of those mean the same thing. Each type has a deadly sin associated with it. And one of the reasons why we want to learn about it is we want you to learn to manage it rather than allow it to manage you. If you're new to my channel, I'm Hillary, your certified Enneagram life coach, and I love to teach the Enneagram in the simplest way possible. And the reason is because the Enneagram can be so overwhelming, especially to a beginner. And so I love just breaking it down in bite-sized pieces for you guys to understand. My hope is that my channel helps you feel welcomed, loved, and appreciated for being exactly who God made you to be. That doesn't mean that we don't need to work on ourselves. It just means that every type is amazing. You guys are all awesome. Every type is needed. All 9 types. What really makes me sad is when I hear people wish to be another type. And my goal is to help you to learn to love and appreciate exactly who you are and to be the healthiest version of the real you. But before we get started, don't forget to push that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every time a video goes live, because I usually have 1 to 2 videos a week, click the bell that's next to the subscribe. That'll keep you in the loop. So deadly sins, what are they? The early teachers of the Enneagram realized that each of the 9 types had a particular weakness that they wrestled with. These were called the 7 deadly sins: pride, gluttony, sloth, anger, envy, greed, and lust. And then they added 2, because obviously there's 9 types, deceit and fear were added. I mean, we can't have 2 numbers feeling left out. Although they'd be like, yeah, I'm the perfect one if they didn't have a deadly sin. But no, all 9 types has a core weakness or deadly sin that they wrestle with. And the truth is we are all capable of doing all 9 of them. But there is one that always gets in the way, one that we always, as our type, wrestle with. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna hopefully quickly go through each type and the deadly sin that their type wrestles with. So what is the deadly sin of the type 1? Anger and or resentment. Ones need and want perfection. They want to perfect the world. They want everything done the right way. But usually it's really hard for people to meet their really high standards. But this can fill a 1 up with anger until it boils over and it starts to lead to resentment, which could look like judgment towards themselves and others. And sometimes it's a small leak. Anger sometimes could look like being really critical or sarcastic or anything like that, also for the type 1. If you identify with a type 1, do you feel like you have like an all or nothing attitude towards like your health and your finances? I would ask yourself, does setting unrealistic expectations of yourself and others lead to those angry outbursts? The thing is, once a 1 learns that nothing is perfect and that they can't make everything perfect, they can start to overcome this way of thinking and see the world with compassion and patience. Okay, so moving along to the type 2, what is the type 2's deadly sin? Well, it's pride. And what this looks like for the 2 is 2s are so extremely aware of everybody else's needs, but they are not aware of their own needs. Or they just ignore them and deny them. Sometimes a 2 can be too proud to need anyone or anything. Their pride can also creep in and come along in the form of thinking that they are indispensable and they alone know what's best for others. And what happens is they insert their help in hopes that other people will tell them how grateful they are for them. If you identify as a 2, can you think of a time where you pursued someone out of your own neediness? Or do you deny and or ignore your own needs? I have friends that are 2s, and when they are sick, they literally will just deny it, not like outwardly, but I think inwardly deny it and just keep going, keep running themselves into the ground sometimes and not stop and recognize their own needs. The funny thing is, if a family member or a friend is sick and needs to go to the doctor, they're the ones that are gonna be like, yep, I got you. Jump in the car, I'm gonna take you to the doctor. They literally will take care of their friends and family right away, but for themselves to go to the doctor or do anything like that can be a lot harder. I think once a 2 uncovers this and learns about this and becomes aware of it, they start to really know their value and preciousness. And that will lead to them not needing to be affirmed by everybody else. They will be free to give without needing to get anything in return. Okay, so let's move on to the 3s. It's your turn. What is the deadly sin of the 3s? It's deceit. And this does not mean that they go around like telling lies or anything like that. No, it's a different form of deceit. What it is threes deceive themselves into believing that they are only the image that they present to others. They want to appear successful, knowledgeable, important. They can put on a mask that really will impress people. But the deceit comes in the form is they're going to believe sometimes the image that they're presenting is really who they are. More than any other types, they could be prone to wearing a mask for others, minimizing their true self. Threes who have found their way to truthfulness and authenticity can put their amazing gifts to work to help other people. And what that does is they bring people with them to the finish line. They're not racing against them, they're bringing people with them, which is motivating to other people to discover their own potential. And so the great thing is the threes need to realize, be truthful who you are and you will bring everybody with you. Okay, so let's move along to the type fours. What is their deadly sin? Well, it is envy. This is another one of those that doesn't mean exactly what you would think it means. They're not envious of other people's things per se or material wealth. In fact, fours want to be unique and special in who they are. And they wouldn't want to like dress like somebody else or decorate their house like everybody else for the most part. And so that's not what it means for the type four. Fours feel like they are always missing something foundational, or that they are tragically flawed, or people possess qualities that they lack. They believe that lie, that they're missing something inside that everybody else seems to possess. They envy people that seem normal and happy and content. The beautifulness of the fours is they have access to all their emotions and are not afraid of them. Fours can find that ability to not only feel great sadness and joy, also the calm acceptance of ordinary life. And this will help them understand that nothing is missing in them. Okay, so let's move on to the type five. What is the deadly sin of the type five? Well, it's avarice. They feel like they lack inner resources and that too much interaction can lead to catastrophic depletion. So they can fixate on being independent, and they might even withhold their love and affection from people that they are close to. The fives, they hold on to their resources, they minimize their needs. That's kind of like that avarice, what that means. People sometimes assume that fives aren't paying attention because they tend to withdraw and need a lot of alone time. But the opposite is true. They are always paying attention, but with their mind. That's what they're paying attention with. Everything else they kind of can switch off. So if you are a five, have there been times where you valued information over people? So the funny thing is, healthy fives are usually amazing counselors and advisors. And I think one of the giftings that the five brings is they can be objective when it's hard for the rest of us to be, right? And so that can be a gifting of them. But I would say for the five, notice when you are hoarding and withdrawing and hoarding of yourself, and work on that because community is really healthy for the five. Okay, so let's move along to the sixes. Sixes, it's your turn. What is the deadly sin of the six? The deadly sin is fear. The world to the six can be a dangerous, scary place at times. Sixes can constantly just scan the horizon looking for anything that might go wrong or any worst case scenarios or anything like that. They're like in tune for looking for that all the time. Why? Well, they would love to predict and to prevent any negative outcomes. Sixes can doubt themselves, doubt their own opinions, be afraid to make a decision. They might even look to an authority figure to kind of ask them what's the right answer. Because in the end, they crave security and safety. But as a six breaks free of this wrestle with fear that they have, courage will come out, courage will rise out of them. And so that's why it's so important to learn about this and know that courage is available to you if you are a six. So, all right, so let's move on to the type seven. What is the deadly sin of the seven? It's gluttony. So this is another one where you think of the word, but it doesn't actually mean what the word is. Like, I don't know, for me, I think of gluttony with food. And that's not what it is for the seven. Sevens are more gluttonous for joy, options, freedom, fun. That's where their gluttony comes in. They love thinking about plans, adventures, projects. And you would think like, oh, that sounds great. What's wrong with that? But this is usually to sidestep facing any hard or distressing emotions, or because they feel a great emptiness inside. So all of those things are what's driving this deadly fear of gluttony of the sevens. Sometimes sevens do too much, go after too much to avoid the present because they're hoping this will bring satisfaction and contentment. But a seven needs to recognize, as we all do really, is that everything we're looking for is right here, right now. The seven can just be still, and open. This might make a 7 feel anxious or scared. Really, anytime that we are breaking away from our flesh's desire, we might feel afraid. All 9 types can experience fear that way. But this can lead to, for the 7, feeling real joy and real gratitude for the present moment, and they're gonna experience true freedom. All right, so let's move on to the type 8. Type 8's, what is your deadly sin? The deadly sin of the type 8 is lust. And I'm not talking about lust in a sexual way at all. What this means for the type 8 is they lust after intensity. They could be confident, confrontational, and domineering, constantly desiring intensity, control, and power. That's what it looks like for them. They will push themselves willfully through life to get what they want. For 8s, they must take off the toughness of the armor that they've worn to protect their vulnerability. Because being alive, real aliveness, means letting their heart being affected again. Underneath their armor is a soft-hearted person, which is one of the reasons why they like to take the side of the weak. Their passion for justice and truth often leads them to help the defenseless. They have amazing protective instinct. The bottom line is, when you plow a road for others, just make sure nobody is getting hurt. So let's move on to the last one. Type 9's, what is your deadly sin? And you guys know I'm a 9, so this hurts a little, but it's always a great reminder. And the deadly sin for the 9 is sloth. And this does not have to do with physical laziness as much as it has to do with spiritual laziness. 9's root sin, sloth, comes out of the loss of their own oneness. A 9 can feel like, I don't exist, I don't matter. They want to remain in an unrealistic world to keep the peace so that they don't have any conflict. They want to remain easygoing and not be disturbed by their own anger. Yes, 9s can be angry. They're just asleep to it most of the time. What sloth means for the 9 is they fall asleep to their own passions, desires, dreams, needs, worth, by merging with another person, right? They lose their oneness. They avoid asserting themselves, developing themselves. I know, because it's a constant struggle for me to stay awake, to be present, go after my own dreams and desires, even if it does cause conflict. It's easier for a 9 to numb out. I don't know if that looks like for you, watching TV, playing games on your phone, reading books so that you could be in someone else's life, not your own. Whatever that looks like for you, that is the definition of sloth. Guys, can you imagine if I gave in to this deadly sin? My goodness, like I did for a long time. But this is why I wanted to teach about this. Everybody is battling something. To give into it is to let it control you. I believe learning about these things for each type will help you identify when it's happening quicker, therefore allowing you to make a healthier, better decision for you. The world needs you. The world needs the best version of you. We are never gonna arrive. But like I said, we can just keep on working on the healthiest version of ourselves. The deadly sins that I brought awareness to today for all 9 types, it is a constant struggle. It's gonna be a struggle. Yes, every day you might struggle with it. But you could decide to give into it, take the easy way, or to say like, not today, Satan, not today. Nope, you're not gonna get that over me today. I have to say no to going all sloth mode a lot, guys. I'm just being honest with you. It is a daily struggle, but I say no to it. My flesh wants what it wants, but I've learned to be stronger, to take the sin to God, and not to give in most days, if I'm being honest. We just need to be willing to look at ourselves in the mirror and wrestle with some difficult truths about ourselves. That's when real growth can and will happen. The Enneagram, it's about transformation, about letting go of who you think you are and discovering your true identity, who God made you to be. So those are the 9 deadly sins. And I have to say, when I learned about 9, yes, it hurt. I recognized this pattern over my whole entire life, things that I had fallen into time and time again. Now that I know about it and I recognize it, I'm able to make better choices, and I really hope after this video you guys are too. So that's all I have, guys, today about the 9 deadly sins of each type. Before I let you go, you guys know I always like to let you know that if you've gotten to this point and you're like, gosh, I don't even know my type, I do offer a typing session. It's a 1-hour Zoom call with me. I have all that information linked down below in the description box. But you guys know, I don't like to leave you hanging. So if you do need that, go ahead and contact me and we will make that happen. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. I always appreciate that, guys. And that's all I have. So until next time, bye guys.